Welcome to Life Report, a ministry of Right to Life of Central California. I'm Gabi Vehrs, the Educational Coordinator at Right to Life of Central California, and I'm here with Elizabeth Goddard, our Operations Director. You may notice that we are in the process of making some updates here in the studio, thanks to some generous donors. A big thank you especially to all of our listeners out there. We have recorded over 200 shows of Life Report, which means we have over 100 hours of pro-life content.
Later on in the show, I'll be interviewing Michael Salinas, our Executive Director here at Right to Life, and we're going to be chatting a little bit more about the mission of Right to Life in our community.
And at the end of the show, Elizabeth and I will be talking about things that you can do practically to make a pro-life difference in your community.
This is Life Report, produced by Right to Life of Central California.
You may notice that we are missing a face. Josh Brom has just started a brand new pro-life organization, something that we're all really excited about, and we'll have to get him back on here again so he can talk about his new organization and the mission, and as well as to record a 200th episode for him. I think he feels a little unfinished, having only done 199 episodes. We got to get it to a perfect number. So, Elizabeth, let's just talk about why it is that pro-lifers do the work that they do.
Well, it's not easy to get up and do pro-life work because, in a way, to work in the pro-life movement is to have a burden on your back. If you stop and think about what we do, and you think about the deaths and the numbers and how overwhelming it is, it's easy to just get depressed and run away, and maybe we can all work on just saving puppies and kittens, like something a little more happy. But it really stems from the view that all human life is intrinsically valuable. And it actually becomes a beautiful thing because if you value the unborn and you learn about that value, it teaches you to value the other people in your life and even the opposition. And we talk a lot about that on this show.
Yeah, and I think for those of us who, whether we do pro-life work in our free time or we do full-time pro-life work, I think we are driven by the fact that we believe every human being is intrinsically valuable and deserves to be treated with dignity. And if the unborn has that same value, then of course we should be fighting to protect their dignity, to protect their right to life. And I think also something that's really important to us is that we believe people are valuable based upon the thing that they are, not the things that they can do.
Exactly. That's one of the main things that if we're talking on a college campus, if we're talking to friends and family members, it's easy to sometimes focus on the negative, to go straight to abortion is bad, abortion is killing, abortion is death, all this negative stuff, it's bad for women. But if you can focus on the positive, the actual reason why all the death and killing is bad, then you bring it back to a positive light. So if you can draw that connection between the unborn human and the born human, that both share those same equal values, and it's not based on, like you said, something that we can do, but something intrinsic to who we are, then it becomes a human rights discussion, and it becomes a positive discussion on how we want to be treated as human beings and how we want our values seen. And that's a relief for me because if I was valued on the things I could do, there's a lot of really valuable people out there and I'm not that awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, that's also why I think pro-life advocates care about not just the unborn, but about women who are in crisis pregnancy situations, people who are recovering from maybe a painful experience with abortion. Our view about human value and human equality drives so much of what we do.
Absolutely. And later on, I know you and I are going to talk a little bit more about what you can do locally in your community to end abortion. And a lot of that comes down to we'll talk about our sidewalk counseling ministry that has a lot to do with reaching out to women in crisis. We'll talk about our partnerships with local organizations that are doing very tangible things to meet women's needs, and men as well. Let's not forget men in this equation. But that ties into that thing about value.
Yeah, definitely, which ties into why we do what we do, specifically here on Life Report. Yeah. Because on Life Report, we believe in inspiring individuals to think carefully about this issue, but also to express themselves with clarity and with compassion and conviction, and ultimately to become dedicated advocates for the unborn, wherever they happen to be in life.
We believe that individuals should have quality, well-rounded pro-life education that is easy to understand, but is also easy to access, something that's readily available.
Yes, absolutely. And we do that by, as a staff here at Right to Life Central California, being dedicated to carefully researching reliable information and then presenting it in a relatable manner. And it's exactly because we care about having reliable and relatable information that we're also going to be making some updates to our website. We're going to be making some changes that will make the website more user-friendly and present our content in a more clear way, and a way that's easier to share as well.
Sure, because if you can't use our website, we're not meeting that need that we're talking about, trying to be accessible to everyone. And for those of you who don't know, our website is lifereport.org. Very simple, lifereport.org, easy to remember, and keep checking regularly for those changes that will be coming up. Speaking of coming up next, I'll be in the studio with our Executive Director, Michael Salinas, and we're going to be talking about the mission of Right to Life of Central California.
40 Days for Life is an international community-based campaign for the end of abortion through peaceful prayer, fasting, and community outreach. Our fall campaign will be from September 24th to November 2nd. Join us as we pray in front of Planned Parenthood to end abortion in Fresno. Call us at 559-229-2229 or visit righttolifeca.org to get involved.
For those of you just tuning in, this episode of Life Report is brought to you by Right to Life of Central California and is available on lifereport.org. I'm here today with Michael Salinas, the Executive Director of Right to Life of Central California, and you're here to talk to us today a little bit about Right to Life's mission to engage, equip, and embrace our communities. So why don't you tell me a little bit about how Right to Life as an organization engages our community in Fresno?
Sure. Thanks, first of all, for having me on the show. That's right. Engage, equip, and embrace. Our mission is to engage the community by presenting the pro-life message with clarity and compassion. The keywords there being clarity and compassion. We also equip advocates to defend the sanctity of all human life through effective tools and training. And finally, our mission includes embracing those who are facing an unplanned pregnancy and those who have been hurt by abortion. And Right to Life has different ministries and events that happen throughout the year that focuses on one mission or another, or one point of the mission statement or another. For example, in regards to engaging the community, we partner with the great international organization, actually 40 Days for Life. Every fall, Fresno adapts the 40 days and makes it its own, and we are out there praying in one of Fresno's 2 abortion clinics. So you find a lot of great advocates out there really just engaging the community in a very prayerful mindset. So 40 Days is a great example of how we currently engage the community. Alongside of that as well, too, we are involved with a lot of the county fairs that happen here in Madera and Fresno, as well as the internationally known California Women's Conference. So we're blessed to be a part of those events as well. In the area of equipping advocates, we partner with great organizations such as JFA, or Justice for All, in regards to providing sidewalk counseling and training for those who happen to be perhaps out of 40 days or throughout the year in front of the abortion clinic. So we do a lot of outreach in regards to engaging and equipping individuals. A lot of the school outreach we do definitely falls under our engage and equip mindset as well, too. And finally, we embrace the Central Valley by partnering with such great organizations as the internationally known Rachel's Vineyard that provides abortion healing retreats, weekend retreats that are just fabulous to go through, and a lot of great good comes out of that as well, too. Recently, Right to Life has implemented a program that covers all 3 of our mission statements to engage and equip the community, and that is our sidewalk counseling. And through our sidewalk counseling, we have individuals who are able to go through a Right to Life approved training program that then builds, the comfort level of being out there in front of an abortion clinic, perhaps through 40 days or through different times throughout the year, giving individuals a tool that will empower them. During 40 days, we do encourage more of a prayerful mindset, but of course, as you grow in what you're comfortable with doing out there, the opportunity always arises to speak to someone who perhaps is going to enter one of the abortion clinics, and being prepared to do that through our sidewalk counseling program is a great tool to have in your tool belt as well.
Now, Mike, you've talked quite a bit about 40 Days for Life as one of the main ways that we engage our community, along with being present at fairs and other events where we might meet people and engage them. Tell me a little bit more about what we do to equip people. Tell me a little bit more about Justice for All, our training program.
Sure. Justice for All is a great organization that allows us in the Central Valley here to really put into place what has been effective nationwide. You have a Saturday full of just equipping. You have individuals who are there, they're trained, they're experts, and they guide you through a wide variety of scenarios that you may encounter on a college campus. You may encounter in front of an abortion clinic as you're there just praying throughout the year. There's a lot that can be said for the results that have come from partnering with organizations such as JFA or Justice for All. And I think a lot of our sidewalk counseling program that Right to Life itself has implemented really does reflect a lot of the training that we've all had through Justice for All. And I mean, having that in your tool belt and being able to personalize it, not only based on the individual you're speaking to, but to the community as well. That's definitely an asset. So having a partnership with Justice for All has definitely been a blessing, and it's something we hope to maintain for quite a while. Yeah.
Sure. Well, and we would be remiss to leave out Life Report as one of our means of both engaging people in our community and internationally, and also equipping them. I know that a lot of the training techniques that we use in our Justice for All program are implemented here on the show. Do we have anything exciting coming up in Life Report's future?
I think we do. There's a lot of great things that are happening, as you may be noticing in the studio with the changes that have happened here. There's a lot of great things that we're planning for the future as well, too. One of our goals in Life Report is to find common ground with our viewers, and we hope to grow and expand the diversity of our viewers, not only from the Central Valley, but those from varying faiths throughout the U.S. and internationally. So I think if you tune in, you'll find some great things happening this season of Life Report. So.
All right, and you've talked a lot about some of the organizations we partner with. Looking at that third part of our mission to embrace those facing an unplanned pregnancy and those suffering from a past abortion. One of the other organizations that we partner closely with here in Fresno is the Pregnancy Care Center. Can you tell us just a little bit more about how we maintain that relationship?
Absolutely. In fact, the relationship we have with the Pregnancy Care Center here locally is something that has been nationally recognized. Christy Burkhart, the Executive Director of Pregnancy Care Center, and we have conversations all the time. We have lunch together. It's a great way to really share the stories that each organization has been developing throughout the year. And oddly enough, nationwide, it's not as common, believe it or not, to have an organization such as Right to Life and the Pregnancy Care Center actually work as closely as we do in the Central Valley. It's an oddity.
Why do you think that is? What is the nature of that makes it difficult?
Well, I think it's both organizations are called to really have a focus in their own area. They have a niche. And even though we have the same goal of really emphasizing the sanctity of all human life, and that includes those born and unborn, PCC, or Pregnancy Care Center, really does focus on those who are facing that unplanned pregnancy. Our Pregnancy Care Center guides individuals through that process, both from conception to having that child born, and what do we happen, what do we do now that our family has grown. I think it's more so of knowing that even though we have our own specific niche, that we can easily work together. We are both very pro-life organizations, and there are ways that we can partner together to grow. For example, out in 40 Days for Life, a lot of the information we give happens to be Pregnancy Care Center information. People looking for options. You're out there wanting a choice. Well, we can give you some options, and Pregnancy Care Center is blessed to, we're blessed to have them as part of our contacts. So being able to say, here's a local facility that can help you out and answer a lot of your questions, we see that as definitely as a blessing. So I'm happy to say that we have as close a relationship with the Pregnancy Care Center as we currently do. And that's really in part to the management. And Christy Burkhart is a great individual, and a lot of her work definitely benefits Right to Life.
Yeah, well, and they're also involved in an aspect with our sidewalk counseling ministry, aren't they?
They certainly are, yes. A lot of the information we hand out during our sidewalk counseling leads individuals to the Pregnancy Care Center. We happen to have our local Pregnancy Care Center have an actual facility not too far from one of our local abortion clinics. That is definitely a blessing for those individuals who are out sidewalk counseling and praying, and they do happen to come across someone who maybe looking for an alternative, it's very easy to say, here's some general information. Oh, by the way, if you'd like me to walk you over to where this place is located, it's just a few hundred feet away. So that's definitely been a blessing. And we have been working with Christy Burkhart in regards to informing ourselves as a staff and our volunteers as to what exactly the Pregnancy Care Center actually does, so that we may be better equipped to relay that information over to those we come across during sidewalk counseling.
Now, we've been talking quite a bit about this new sidewalk counseling training that we've just been doing for a short time, and how it has the ability not only to engage people on the street, but it's us equipping people to have the right skills to engage them, and then also to embrace those individuals walking either in the clinic who might be in a crisis pregnancy situation, and those walking out of the clinic who might need help with their, who might be struggling with their past abortion. What type of qualifications does someone need to have to come to one of those trainings? You know,
I think the main qualification has to be an openness to finding that common ground with someone. We're not out there, obviously not judging anyone. The real mindset is really finding compassion for the people walking into that clinic, as well as relaying that compassion over to those who actually work for the facilities as well. That compassion and that understanding, I mean, we really can't call ourselves pro-life unless we're really willing to live up to that in every aspect of life. We may not always find ourselves in agreement with those we speak to, but to have enough respect as a human, one person to another, enough respect to hear someone out and to find that common ground that we all have at some point. It's in some level. I think that's probably the only qualification, being able to be open and willing to speak to someone. We are all prayerful individuals, and we know that the Lord guides us in so many ways, and we know that if we're open to certain things, we can do amazing things, or rather the Lord can do amazing things through our actions as long as we're open. Hey, I'm willing to be a pencil or a tool for the Lord. So,
all right. Well, if you have an open heart for the unborn and you're interested in attending one of our sidewalk counseling trainings, you can go to righttolifeca.org to see the upcoming dates. Thank you so much, Mike. And next up, we have our pro-life tip of the week.
And now your pro-life tip, brought to you by Right to Life of Central California. Relax. It's not your responsibility to make this person pro-life. Be genuinely interested in her, not just in making your argument. You don't have all the answers, and that's okay, because you don't have to be an expert to share your beliefs on abortion. Conversations are organic. Let yours grow naturally.
Gabi, we've been talking recently about the overwhelming nature of the national debate on abortion and how hard a burden that can seem to bear. You had some interesting thoughts on local ways that an individual can make a difference in the national debate.
Right, it is a national issue. Because of Supreme Court rulings related to the issue of abortion, it can feel like this is a national issue. We're talking about national funding that is going towards organizations like Planned Parenthood. We're talking about the fact that we need changes in constitutional law, changes at the state level in state law to restrict abortions. So it can feel really overwhelming because most of us don't have law degrees, and most of us aren't equipped to make that kind of an impact. So I know on a personal level, there have been times where it's like, gosh, can I really do anything to make a significant impact on this issue? And so that's why I think it is important to look at the local efforts, because it is just as much, I think, a local issue as it is a national issue if you're considering the individual lives that are being touched by abortion. If you're talking about the individual women who are going through really tough situations that are causing them to get an abortion, you're talking about the individual children who are being aborted. So I think that local ministry really is something that everyone can do.
Right. I have felt that before, and I'm sure that anybody else who's been a pro-life advocate feels that overwhelming nature. But when we do these local ministries, what can someone do locally that's really going to make a difference in the whole abortion debate? Like, you feel like you can have a fundraiser, you can talk to your friends, but is that really making an impact?
Well, first of all, I do think that those things make an impact. Having conversations with individual people, that's how this issue will eventually that's how the national view on this issue will eventually change, is through individual pro-life advocates being faithful in their relationships and changing the minds of the individual voter, the individual American, the individual college student may go on to be a constitutional lawyer, who may go on to be a person of influence in our country. But I also think that local work can make a national impact in other ways. For example, I consider the work that 40 Days for Life has done, and Coalition for Life in Texas, and individual campus clubs, the impact that's being had. So first of all, you have these individual organizations who participate in the 40 Days for Life challenge that they do, the 40 Days for Life campaign.
And that's the 40-day prayer vigil
Yes.
that we actually do here locally in Fresno.
Yeah, exactly. And there is a national organization, a global organization, who helps assist groups, but it's largely a grassroots effort. It's the individual groups and organizations of people who are doing the campaign, and that campaign is getting results. I was just recently on the 40 Days website, and they have reported over 50 abortion centers closing, in large part due to their efforts, being out on the sidewalk regularly, as well as over 101 workers who have quit, and they believe in large part because of the efforts on the sidewalk.
Well, and that might not be a new piece of legislation. That might not be what we would expect to be a victory in the pro-life movement. But if, thinking of Abby Johnson's organization, we've had her on the show. She likes to say, if there's no abortion workers, there are no clinics. So those grassroots efforts definitely are making that difference. And you don't really need any skills or a particular skill set to stand and pray or to sit and pray out in front of an abortion facility for 40 Days for Life. So,
right, you don't have to be a trained lawyer.
Exactly.
You just need to have a heart of service and love towards people who are facing crisis pregnancy situations. And there are other organizations who are working to train their volunteers to do the sidewalk counseling, to talk to women who are facing crisis pregnancies on the sidewalk, or then we can consider the pregnancy care centers. If you are pro-life and you're looking for an opportunity locally, check out and see what's available with local centers, whether they need financial help, whether they need clothing and diaper donations, or also counselors there to volunteer for the crisis pregnancy center. They're having significant impact in being a support for women who are facing crisis pregnancy, so they don't feel forced into having an abortion that they don't want.
Now, you mentioned college clubs earlier. I know that a large segment of our audience are college students. As a college student, you often feel like you're alone in a big pond of professors and experts who disagree with you. And even if you're lucky enough to find a few pro-life friends, how can a club actually make a difference on their campus or even out in their community?
So I love talking about this, and it might be because I'm still in college, technically. But I get really excited about this because of the very effective clubs I've actually seen. So last summer I interned with Justice for All in Kansas, and we did a training in Louisiana, and I got to meet someone who started the pro-life club at Louisiana State University, a campus that has very high rates of sexual activity, and so very high rates of sexually transmitted diseases. And they worked to get a bus to take students from the campus to the pregnancy care center for STD testing, which also developed a relationship for any future if one of those students faced an unplanned pregnancy. But also they've been working really hard as a college to be out in front of the clinic, either praying or talking to people who might be going to the clinic. There are two fabulous clubs here in California at University of Southern California and UCLA, who I've met the presidents of both clubs, passionate women who are unafraid to get conversations started about abortion at very liberal campuses, who are making an impact, changing hearts and minds. And so there are two different things you can do on a college campus. You can do both of them, but you can be focused on the pregnancy care center aspect, or the outreach to people who are going to an abortion clinic, either by volunteering your service at a pregnancy care center. At Bible University, the school I go to, there's a lot of students, especially those in the psychology department, and professors as well, who volunteer their time at the pregnancy care center. Or you can be really focused about creating dialogue on your college campus. Washington University has a thriving pro-life club. Katie Worley is the president there, and they are getting conversations started once a week or every other week with a pool table, just asking student opinion on abortion. So yeah, there's a lot you can do on a college campus.
Right, and for those of us who aren't on a college campus anymore, we actually have some things here locally in Fresno that you can do. We have been launching our new sidewalk counseling training program. So every so often, you can check the dates on our website at righttolifeca.org. We do a training here in our office in Fresno where you can learn how to be more comfortable talking to women on what we like to consider the front lines, right out in front of the clinic. It's open to anyone with a caring and compassionate heart for the unborn and for women facing crisis.
And we have 40 days coming up.
Absolutely. Yeah. Don't forget about that. So 40 Days for Life, our prayer vigil, which is a 12-hour prayer vigil, 7 in the morning to 7 at night. We need you to stand in front of Planned Parenthood locally here in Fresno. We need people for all those hours, and it's wonderful to see hundreds of individuals, faithful individuals here in Fresno, come together and stand in support of life.
Yes, absolutely. And if you're not local here in Fresno, check out your local organizations. Look for pregnancy care centers in your area. Look for people who are doing 40 Days for Life campaigns. And check out, if you're in school, Students for Life of America is reaching out to not just college students, but also high school and junior high students to help students make an impact on this issue.
This episode and other episodes of Life Report are available locally here in Fresno on television. We are on KNXT channel 49. We currently air Wednesdays at 10 p.m. and Thursdays at 8:30 in the morning. We are also available on local Fresno radio, KGED 1680. You can catch us Sunday afternoons at 12:30. And of course, you can find us online at lifereport.org. That is our new domain name. If you are used to going to prolifepodcast.net, don't worry, we still have that website. It's gonna take you right to lifereport.org. But we wanted to come up with something that's a little easier to remember. Don't forget to also like us on Facebook, facebook.com/LifeReportRLCC. And we are also on Twitter. And you can follow us. Our handle is LifeReportRLCC. You can call us at 877-288-2069. And you can leave us a voicemail. We'll hopefully get to some of those on the show. Again, that's 877-288-2069. To find out more about our ministry and about Right to Life of Central California, visit our website at righttolifeca.org. Thank you.